Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You guys, we made it to the end of season 4. This is a bittersweet moment. As always, I am Brittany, better known as Be Right Breeze, and I am here with my sister.
Hi, I am Genia, known as the only Genia, right?
Yes, which we will say for this last episode, as we've said in the past. There are others. We don't care about them.
Doesn't matter.
So. So you guys, listen, for the finale, we've decided to mix it up on you. Okay. This is season 4 of Insecure, episode 10. They gave us 10 episodes this season, and it is Lowkey Lost. I believe that was the name, Lowkey Lost. And you guys, everybody was lost.
Yes.
Up in this
lost
episode.
In the sauce.
Literally and figuratively, okay?
Yes.
So our new format right now that we are going to try today, or we're going to do for the finale, is I'm going to be commenting, and we're just going to talk about the synopsis and just go through. No questions at the end. We're just going to jump right in and just have a conversation like we're sitting on the couch, like we do when we're briefing an episode. We're really inviting you into our living room right now for sure. So take it away, sis, and I will be ready. I'm ready.
Okay. I mean, you said it, this episode 10 was definitely full of surprises, and it was a good season finale because I do think they left us with some cliffhangers out there, some things to wait and see about. And so, we're going to go with the various couples, and that's how we're going to move through the story of episode 10. So let's start with Tiffany and Derek. We have all watched Tiffany struggling with the experience with her life as a new mother, and we suspected that the struggle was a bit more than just the normal exhaustion that new moms feel. And they never say it explicitly, but she has been showing signs of postpartum. And the truth is that, they're kind of giving us a peek into what it can be like for mothers that experience postpartum depression, and and what it's like to struggle with that. In this actual episode, Tiffany she disappeared. She essentially called her husband, said she needed some time away from the house, and was gone overnight. Derek is frantic. All of the friends, Molly, Kelly, Issa, they all rally around him to provide support and help look for her. And so they end up essentially using clues from, what they know of her, and they know of her habits. They're thinking through, things that they've done together in the past. They're making phone calls to hotels. And so they literally search her down, and they do end up tracking her down at a Sheraton hotel. And they are on a public bus when they find the Sheraton. And the bus driver won't stop because it's between stops. Kelly ends up hitting that button we've all wanted to hit, so the door would open between stops. They get off the bus. The bus driver ends up waving over a police officer. And this police officer, hand on gun, is trying to figure out what happened, does a horrible job of de-escalating the situation between, the crew of friends who are frantically looking for Tiffany and this bus driver and some of these other haters from on the bus, just doing a horrible job. So Molly kind of steps out and says,
before we pass this point, I just want to really hone in on the awfulness of the two people that got off of the bus, who are very representative, and it is very timely of what we're going through and what is on social media right now. Of just someone involving themselves in something, first of all, that has nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
But also, if we go back into the scene, you were harassing Kelly.
Totally.
Saying something extremely racist. You're my inner Black woman. What? And then you have the nerve to say they're harassing this man. I said, if they're not depicting the perfect Karen and Kevin, Okay. That is, I was like, is this real? But the truth of the matter is, it is real life.
It's real
It
life.
is absolutely real life. So,
And
and
it's
then not
also,
knowing.
it's also real life that the police officer did not do a good job. I mean, there are basic de-escalation tactics that anyone who's even run an office knows how to do. And he just didn't do a good job at all of managing the situation. And Molly kind of steps out and is like, I'm a lawyer. Why are you harassing us and not the white people who are standing over there? And, you know, if she hadn't have said that, who knows? Who knows how this whole thing would have gone down? You know, because they were just frankly they were not, you know, handling it well.
At all. And it was fun. The police officer said, oh, I'm not getting it. He already knew what was about to go down. But he needed that job.
But
he needed that pension.
But you know, he was really the one that, to me, out of everyone that was involved in that situation, I think everyone could have done something differently. Kelly and the friends could have waited a few blocks for the bus driver to get to the next stop.
Yeah.
That little stupid dum-dum on the bus could have saved his comments and kept them to himself.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people could have done things differently, but I think the person who really, really was completely out of line was the bus driver as the first step. Because you cannot, in this here world, call the police for little things like that. You just can't. Not when they are undertrained, overworked, racist. You cannot do that. And so that bus driver waving the police into that situation, he was wrong. He was irresponsible. Get a sense of what kind of crime actually deserves intervention by police.
Absolutely.
You know? So
and it makes me, but also I think of everything could have been avoided because didn't Derek drive? I was so confused when they got on the bus. I mean, I understood they wanted to follow the bus route, but I said, can't you just drive straight in the car that you all are in?
They would have had to pull up the bus route to or find a bus and try to follow it.
Right. But that would have been one of them things where I'm like, that would have worked too. Because now you still have to get back to the car. So my mom was like, why aren't we getting in the car right now? Right. But that's fine. I mean, it's just right. Because if it's in the vicinity, that means that we in the vicinity. But anyway, I appreciate that they did that. Always. Why? Because Insecure is always on point. And they're always top-notch. And they're always letting you know that we're in the now.
We're in the now. And that storyline kind of wrapped right after that. After this really unfortunate interaction, the whole crew goes to the Sheraton. They get to Tiffany's hotel room. You know, Derek knocks on the door and she eventually answers and she basically just says, I'm sorry, I didn't know what else to do. And she is clearly low-key lost, you know, just mentally. You can just see it all over her. She's just like, I didn't know what to do. And Derek, you know, he just comforts her. The girls just kind of stand to the back and they're emotional. Everybody's a wreck because they see her falling apart. And, you know, that's where it ends. We don't see any more of Tiffany and Derek after that. So all you can do is hope that they got, that she's going to get the help that she needs and that, you know, their marriage will survive this turmoil, which again, Derek has just really, truly been quite a comfort. And it was so interesting, sis, because do you remember how he was like beating himself up about it? He was just like, I knew she wasn't happy, but you know, I didn't realize it was this bad, you know?
I think that is a remnant of anyone who is too close to a situation. It is something where you can't, it's hard to see the outside, what's going on because you're in it every day. So if this person is just making little attitude adjustments every day, you may not notice it until it is something that is larger. Like even when you're someone, if it's a family, and also there's um disposition is, I think, the word I'm looking for, to, a thing to dispense belief that something like this is happening, because it's always, it can't be me, or it can't be the person I love, or it can't be this situation. I'm not the one that this would happen to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Derek had to grapple with those things, but seeing him still stay in, seeing him hold down the home, meaning in the sense of, we don't give those roles, quote unquote, right, to men. Those are women's roles. Women, you're more motherly. There's just things men don't know how to do. I've had conversations like this before. There's just things men don't know how to do that women know how to do naturally. It's not true.
It's not.
It's just not true. I know personal stories of women who had to grow to love their babies, and that is okay. We're not, it's not a monolith when it comes to women and nurturing and motherhood. No, it's just not. And so
and you know what else is? It made me start to think about, whether Derek actually could know the signs, whether he was aware of, postpartum depression as a disease. True. And whether he was just looking, as a sickness, yes. Or whether he was just looking at it as she's just down in the dumps and adjusting. And he didn't understand that she was at a point where she needed actual medical intervention and support. And so then that made me start to think about, well, how did I learn about postpartum depression? And I can tell you, I didn't learn it in school, in any health class. I didn't learn it from my family. I think I learned it from watching movies and television shows. I really do. So that just goes to show you that there are some conversations that are missing, that are just not happening, to help all of us prepare for what it means to move into adulthood generally, but certainly to move into parenting.
And especially being Black women, we have been taught and have a tendency, keep licking and keep on ticking. Like this is supposed to be your life. What do you do when you can't regroup? I do remember a Oprah, a episode of Oprah, of course, years ago, from her talk show, where it was surrounded around a Black woman that had actually taken her life because she wrote a letter and she wanted to take the life of her child. And she knew that wasn't right. She knew it wasn't right. And so she chose to take her own because she could take that feeling of what is going on here. And so you're so right. We don't educate. We don't educate, but listen, that's a whole nother podcast topic, all in of itself, about really women's health. Hello.
It really is. It really, and it's just such a very real case of people being inequipped to handle situations. And that's actually a really good segue to, we call them hashtag Maldrew, Maul and Andrew. Okay. Because they are hashtag ill-equipped.
Before you do go forward to Maldrew, I do want to say one thing. If you notice how we have seen Tiffany through 3 and almost 4 seasons, hair done, nails done, everything did. We saw Tiffany in her most vulnerable, no makeup, hair naturally just washed. She's literally gotten down to her bare minimum.
Weave out.
Everything out. She has gotten down to her bare minimum self. And I got a chance to watch Amanda Seales talk about that. She said, I purposefully wasn't doing my nails a ton as I'm going through this character for the season, because I wanted to show that natural progression of her getting deeper and deeper into postpartum depression. She did an amazing job of that. And so I just wanted to really point that out, that if we go to Tiffany While the first time we ever met her, sipping drinks, going like this. Oh, my husband, he's so great. Everything is perfect. We don't talk about that. It's okay. That's what she says all the time. It's fine. It's fine. That's what she would always say. To I am sorry. And that's the only words that she can get out of her mouth. I was like, woo, honey, life will get you. Okay, so I'm sorry. I just needed to add that in, like, honey.
That was good. That was good. Just that was really good. And I think about just so many times where you are experiencing something and you don't have the words for it. And I'm not at all going to compare these experiences in a way of like saying that they are completely similar. But sure. I do know that if you've lost a loved one and someone is comforting you that has never lost a loved one, 9.999 times out of 10, they are not going to say something that's super helpful, even if it's said in love and kindness. But it's just because you don't know what to do. You don't know what to say because you don't get it.
Don't get it.
You don't get it. And so there's a whole piece of this that is about being aware of symptoms, being aware of, but the second piece is being aware of how to support someone when they're going through something. And that is something else that needs to be taught.
That's good. That's good, sis. So thank you for allowing me to interrupt you in that moment. But girl, listen, let's get back to hashtag Maldrew, honey.
Let's talk about it. And again, if the segue still works, because again, somebody needed some training. And who is it? It's both of them, Molly and Andrew.
Hello.
It comes down to being in a relationship, So the first time we see Molly and Andrew in the episode, they're at a party with Molly's professional colleagues. And Andrew is there. She's introducing him to people, and they're having a nice time. One of her colleagues comes up to him and comes up to both of them and invites them to an after party. Andrew he's clear about the fact that he doesn't feel like going. And Molly basically wants to go. He gives in. They end up staying out all night. I mean, by the time they get home, the sun is up, okay? Andrew sits down and he says, okay, I just want to watch Looking for LaToya, And, he said the Looking for LaToya reunion is on, And he's like, all right, I'm just going to sit down and watch it. Molly is like, no, I don't want you to watch it without me. So again, it was just like, he just said, of course, we have to do it on your schedule. And she says, what was that? And he ends up just unpacking all of these feelings of like, Molly, anytime I mention an issue, it's too much for you. You're not ready to process it. You don't want to have the conversation. He says, I'm constantly having to bend over backwards for you. And you never let things go. And Molly, in that exchange, she just has no level of personal accountability. No. Does not at all own that what Andrew is saying is accurate. He pulled out examples. He talked about examples like when it came down to her just taking the simple act of going out to a basketball game with his brother to mend fences. She wouldn't do it because she didn't want to do it. And he was calling that out. And she was saying things she was so defensive. She was like, well, at first you were saying I was working too much. And now I'm taking you to my work parties so that we can be together. And that's still not enough for you. She just was not owning the fact that she is controlling in this relationship. And that the reason for their longevity has been Andrew giving in over and over and over again. And Andrew basically said, he has to do whatever she wants in order for their relationship to work. And it's getting old. And he admits to her that he's been feeling that way for a while, and he just feels like they aren't on the same page. He sits right there and questions their overall compatibility. Yes. And she's fighting for the relationship to continue. She says, but what about the longevity? She's like, this is the longest relationship either of us has ever had. Doesn't that mean something? And he says, you know what? Compatibility is compatibility. And I just don't think we're on the same page. So you don't see it, but it appears as if they broke up. Do you think they broke up, sis?
You know, insecure. I will tell you this. I am done making predictions about this show. They broke me with this episode, honey. Listen, I'm dangling. I'm dangling. I don't know. Listen, I'm low-key lost. But you know, I don't know. One part of me wants the redemption story, right? The one that Issa and Lawrence are beginning to have. We'll get into that soon, right?
Yeah.
But another part of me says, Andrew, I don't want you to wait. And I'm not saying that you're perfect, but Molly has a lot of work to do. And I'm not saying that you can't be in relationship when you have work to do, but you surely have to be with someone who is patient while you're doing that work. And Andrew has clearly he has met his patience cap. So I don't know what they would have come to, because when it was watching her eyes and she was tearing up and we didn't see her answer to his question, which was, Molly, what are you fighting for? And to me, the answer to that question is, I'm fighting for the idea of relationship. I'm fighting for that now my life is complete. When really, in fact, it's not, because you have a scorned relationship with your best friend. But for now, the thing that I've always wanted that is going to fill up every hole that I have is relationship. And so when you're telling me that what we have is not enough, or what I'm doing, how I am, is impacting you, I don't know. I can't handle that. I can't process that, because even though in which we know her counseling is not consistent. And also, a friend of mine, we were talking about, for counselors, they can only work with you on the things that you tell them. So if I'm not coming to you with the full story, I don't even, how can I even give you full advice or be having a full visual of what's going on if I'm not telling you the whole story?
Right.
And so, but just this disposition that Molly has, that she's right. And so her being told by the person that has been there for her and has allowed her space to be who she is now telling her, this is too much for me. Yep. And I, just like you're looking out for you, I have to look out for me. So I will tell you, part of me does want them to be apart, so she can really get some things together and learn herself, in a sense, because since we've known Molly, we've not really known her to be alone. She's had men, just no consistent relationships. Something happens sometimes when we have a little bit of time to just be alone, just a little bit, not lonely, just alone. And so I would hope that she would take some time to really do that. And that Andrew would do some soul searching as well, to say, why don't I speak up for myself immediately? Why don't I call things out in the moment? Why do I allow things to just tinker on until all she's saying is that she doesn't want you to watch the reunion of LaToya? And you're like, of course, we're going to do what Molly does.
And like then everything, little things, big things.
Yes.
She just wants to control everything,
Everything.
And sis, I don't know if I know they need to break up. They need to break up. And I don't know, though, that we should be hoping for Molly to change. Some people are, sometimes you are just who you are. And there are people who are self-absorbed. And
Yeah.
the truth is that as long as Molly thinks you're on her side, she can be a very caring person, you know, but it is just when she bucks up against people, you know, disagreeing with her, you know. So the truth is, maybe she just needs to find someone who isn't faking it the way Andrew was faking it. So you were talking about Andrew spending some time with himself to see, you know, why he gives in. I don't think that that's who Andrew is. You know, I don't think he's a pushover. I think that he wanted to make things work with Molly and knew that that was the only way to do it. And I think in the same way that Derek was just waiting for something to change, waiting for, you know, Tiffany to snap out of it, I think Andrew was hoping that love could conquer all. And that shit's BS. We know that ain't real. And I think he was waiting for her to, and she didn't change. So I just feel
Never
like
the message, never date people for potential, honey.
yeah,
You date them for who
seriously.
they are.
Exactly.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, so when our brother watched the episode, he texted us, "I hate Molly." And then I hadn't watched the episode yet. So then I was watching the episode and I was like, oh, I hate Molly. I texted Brittany and Aubrey like, I hate Molly. You know.
I think I was the only one that didn't text that, and I didn't really feel that, but I was frustrated with her.
No,
I think that also some part of me wants Molly to change, and because I believe people, if they work on it, they have the capacity to change if they listen to what people say. But you have to listen, and there has to be willing.
You have to want to change.
You have to want to change.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason why I would say Molly would have to continue to work on changing is because there are people that are leaving her life that she wants to stay.
Mm-hmm.
People that are leaving your life, you don't care about them staying?
Mm-hmm.
Stay who you are and keep doing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
But if people that you sincerely want to stay in your life are telling you this part of you, I cannot deal with. It is causing a wedge between us that is wedging me enough to be okay if I'm away from you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only reason why I would say she has got to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people around her have made it very clear. The most important people to her, we're not going to take it. Your family, they'll tell you about it, but they'll always dismiss it as that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm. Because they're part of making you into that person.
Hello.
So.
But also they are people that you can't get away from them. Same blood. I'm gonna see you during the holidays, so it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for people who are making a choice to be in your life, that's completely different.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah. And you know, sis, you set up those natural segues so good. That is actually a really good segue to
I do what I can in these streets.
You real good, yo. You real good.
Thank you.
That's a really good segue to Issa and Nathan. You know, so this is a situation where we have two people that are choosing friendship. They're choosing to be in each other's lives. You will recall that Issa, she's planning her next event, and it is going to be a wellness event. And she was looking for a venue, a place to host it. And Nathan, who is buying out his barbershop with some friends, he's like, I have a space in the back of my barbershop. And she was expecting it to be a whack attack. And she goes and looks at it, and it's actually really nice, and it's perfect for her event. And
the rest is so good.
Oh,
I don't know if some of the stuff she says is are actual lines or if they're just ad libs of who she believes the character is.
mm-hmm.
But I love it either way.
So and I'm going to go ahead and say I love Nathan. And you know, Nathan uses that moment to apologize. He says, listen, I know that I messed up. He basically said, I know I'm the reason we're not together. I know I messed up. He said, but it still stung for me to hear that you were back with your ex. And I didn't react well, and I apologize for the reaction. He said, I don't want to do anything to complicate your life. And he says that he really does want to be friends. And that Issa, she's like, well, you know what? I hope we can be friends because me and Lawrence are holding it down, you know. And
Hello.
but that Nathan, you know, that owning a mistake. I mean, he really, really is a standout in that way, you know.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking about the dating pool out here, you know. A guy who could just kind of own a mistake, I'll take it, please, you know.
Listen here, honey. I was just gonna say, we gotta do what you do, okay, for the men in this show. They be on their grown men.
They
Get a
really
little Kelly up in here.
Yes, seriously. You know, and that Nathan, he's so like, you know, he's just so mature. There's only one word for it. It's mature. And I think that's why we were so effing disappointed when he left and didn't say anything. It was like, no, not the mature guy. He's not
Like,
doing it too.
You're literally leaving us no hope.
We ain't got no hope.
We're done.
We're done. And so with that apology, because I had not yet fully gotten over his disappearance. I was processing the fact that it was a mental health.
I think you were doing more than processing. You were still in the moment.
I was. You were right. Do you see how I can own that? See? And I realize now that that Nathan really is leading by example in terms of, listen, this is how you be a friend. And listen, forget what you heard. I still don't believe in platonic male-female relationships. Okay. And trust. If I was Lawrence, I would not want Issa hanging out with Nathan.
Okay.
Okay. And that's not even a note of like, it's not about, you know, I don't want to say that it's not like it's about not trusting a person. It is about the reality of the fact that relationships are hard. If you've been in a long-term relationship, you know, you have those moments where you're like, is this worth it? And in those moments, it is just so natural to think about other options that are available. And it just requires a level of discipline that Issa has not demonstrated. And so
you're mad that day and you come to work or to an event or something and you're just spewing, and this person is your shoulder to lean on. This person is your ear. Recipe for disaster.
And don't throw some alcohol in there. Everybody in trouble. So anyway, but he apologized. But basically, that scene does a couple of things. Number one, it clears the air with Nathan and Issa. Number two, it confirms that Issa is moving forward with her event, which is really great, really great. And it's a good thing that she is flourishing professionally because, segue, guess who else is? Hello. Sis, let's talk about Issa and Lawrence.
Let's discuss.
So first of all, that old sitting on the couch working on an imaginary business plan, Lawrence, he gone. He gone. Because Lawrence, not only did he get that San Francisco job, it's a banging job. He's gonna have an assistant. He's gonna have a team. They're gonna
corner office.
They're gonna pay for his relocation. You know.
Hello.
And
it's a good job.
It's a good job. And Issa, and Lawrence, again, people are just maturing. We're moving because as we have been talking about over the course of our various chats, we're moving from watching these characters be very insecure as individuals to become more confident and more self-aware. And so as they start to become more self-aware, their posture and clarity it just starts to really show. And we see Lawrence saying, listen, I got this job. What does this mean for us? And Jesus says, listen, it's not a deal breaker. It's a 45-minute flight. If we want it to work, it will work. She's completely optimistic. And she even goes as far, and we talked about this, as we didn't know if she'd be open to it. She goes as far as to say that she would be open to moving to San Francisco at some point.
Hello.
Because she wants to surround herself with people and experiences that make her happy, and Lawrence makes her happy, and Lawrence says she makes him happy, and he wants it to work. So that they're on the same page. And what's that page? That page is called Upward Progress. Okay? Hello. And it's called Connection. Okay.
Hello.
And then
until that page get a tear in it,
somebody put coffee on it, girl tore it, something
happened.
Oh, what happened? Listen, it was exactly, and listen,
I'm just going to sit here just like this right now while you say this, because when you get done, I need to let everybody know my first response.
Mm-hmm. And here's what I have to say. My predictions on this entire season have been wrong. Every time I predicted something, it has not been right. Why did I get this? Finally, I get a prediction right. And it was that Condola done come back. And she is not only back, she is pregnant. And she says, she
said it's your child.
And Lawrence says, are you sure it's mine? She says, yes. He says, are you going to keep it? She says, yes, I've always wanted children. He's like, but this timing is not good. She agrees that the timing is not super great. And she says to Lawrence, you be as involved as you want to be. It's up to you. It's up to you. And Lawrence, he immediately goes back to Issa the next day and reports about what happened. Condola done come to my house and laid this bomb on me.
I mean, all over our you dropped a bomb on me.
Drop that
baby.
Bomb.
Listen.
And Issa, who was on cloud 9, is now at cloud -57. And she said, it's just too much. She says it's too much. I thought we were finally on track. It's just too much. Now, we don't see them firmly break up. We see Issa disappointed and angry. We see Lawrence disappointed and angry, but we see them both still longing to be together. And, and all we see is Issa processing it. She goes and she smokes, some weed, and she's just like trying to process. So we don't know. That's the big cliffhanger. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen there.
Let me tell you something. First of all, Condola, she didn't just say, I've always wanted kids. Let's go back and have some receipts.
Mm-hmm.
When she was sitting there on the couch with her friends, she was like, I'm not in that space right now. That's not anything I want. That was the commencement of their disagreement that took her to the question to him, if Issa had not cheated, would you two still be together? You posed that question. You told him he invited himself to Thanksgiving. You were mad nonchalant about everything. I just got divorced not too long ago. That was you, Condola. Now, all of a sudden, when it was whatever her ex-husband's name was, I didn't want one then, which leads you to believe that she may have been pregnant at some point and terminated that pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, you have someone who is on a forward movement,
mm-hmm.
forward trajectory, okay? You knew that when he went out to San Francisco, this is his thing. He's a Black man going into Silicon Valley. Like, come on. You already knew that this is, he's a unicorn. So you knew that him getting where he was just because also based off his intelligence and his drive. Bye, Condola. We already knew what you was about. Now, all of a sudden, you're pregnant and you want to keep this baby. And then Lawrence coming off of being someone which...
I have to just interrupt you because
yes,
I am shocked at what you just said.
What did I just say?
You said several things. You said that she changed her mind, but you said it in a way of judgment. Yeah, she changed her mind. She didn't want to give this.
I don't have an issue
now
with
she
her
wants
changing her mind.
And also, you said
I don't have an issue.
You act like she's clinging on to Lawrence because of his success. Nobody ever said her ex-husband was unsuccessful, like he was a mugger slug.
They did not say that. They didn't say that.
But you implied.
But what I'm saying is that she's coming in a way as if he should know that this was something, saying to him, I've always wanted children. No, our last conversation was about family. You were very clear that wasn't something you were into.
At that time.
I don't have an issue with you changing your mind. Like, I don't have an issue with that. But do understand that what you're doing right now is opposite of what you've just shown this person. And what you just shown us as the viewing audience. And we don't have a segue into your mindset. I get it. There's a baby now, so you got to change. She's a planner. She's going to get things done. She's a mover. She's a shaker. So she's going to get things done. So I don't doubt that. And I know this baby is going to be well taken care of, whether he's in the baby's life or not. But because we know Lawrence, because we know his parents, there was never an option for Lawrence not to be in this baby's life, in my opinion.
Can I tell you that was the only thing that I took issue with? Mm-hmm. I took issue with her saying you can be as involved as you want.
Because if that's the case, don't tell me about the baby.
I in general, and this is like, I've never been in this situation. Yeah, no. But I do think that people should not be let off the hook like that. Mm-hmm. I think that saying to someone before you're even showing in your pregnancy, you can be as involved as you want to be, in reaction to his shock that you are pregnant, I don't feel like that's productive, because you're not advocating for your child when you do that. I mean, it's like, why would you say that? Why would you let somebody off the hook? To me, the ideal comment would have been, let you process this, and then let's talk.
See, that's why I feel like there's some manipulation. She knows Lawrence. She knows Lawrence in the sense that she knows he's a family man. That's what he wants. So you're telling me that you're going to say to a man that you know wants a wife and kids, say to him, I'm about to have your kid, but you don't have to be involved. Or be involved as you want. That to me is manipulation in and of itself. Not that you have to manipulate me to take care of my baby, but you making that point is almost as if wanting to see his level of care, not just for the baby, but also for you. Because ultimately, because you're carrying the child, he is going to have a level of care for you. He is going to have to be there throughout the pregnancy and for the rest of the baby. That is hard.
We have found yet another place in this show, and this is why it's so good, where we're going to have to agree to disagree.
All right.
I didn't see it as manipulative. I saw it as Condola being what all of us are, which is willing to do whatever it takes. And she's basically saying, whether you're going to be there or not, I'm about to live a good life. I didn't see it as her trying to manipulate him in any kind of way. And I certainly don't think she got pregnant on purpose. I don't think there was any manipulation.
I think she got pregnant on purpose, but it was that was a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know, because see, people like Condola, they make you go, oh, okay, she just got caught up in a situation. It is what it is. Then you find out later on, she was mad because he didn't come to the house that night. She was upset because he stayed with Issa and he never called her back. You start to learn people through these different situations and
Mm-hmm.
circumstances. So I mean, of course, we don't know, but we also know that when Condola got upset, what did she do? She disappeared. She disappeared and stopped helping Issa on her block party.
That was
So we
wild.
already know there's a little bit of shadiness inside Condola, some kind of, which we all got a little bit of shadiness. So there's something in her that we do not know about.
Mm-hmm.
That
Well, one thing,
there's parts to the story we don't know why she got divorced from her husband. We don't know that whole
yeah,
story.
yeah, you right. You right. You
So
right.
we might be getting a glimpse into who she is. She might be Shady McShaderson.
Well, sis, what did you think of Issa's response?
I thought Issa's response was spot on. Because let me tell you guys, Issa's response was my response. I was hurt and I almost wasn't about to watch season 5. I was so mad. I was like, I know life is awful for all of us on the planet. Nothing just, things work out sometimes and then most of the time they don't. But I was just like, not this. They're already going to be struggling to see what it's like to be back into a new situation and working it out long distance. That in and of itself is enough. Now we're tacking on a miniature human with someone you were apparently done with, both of you. And now it's not even that it's just some random girl that he was messing with. It is someone that Issa was friends with. Like, this is the worst person on the planet. So for Issa, I think Issa's trying to gather herself to remind herself that life is not terrible,
Right.
but this is a thing that we have to get through. This is a thing. If I'm saying to you, like I said, we were in the market and we were talking about whether I would, how it would be if you moved. And I'm like, we do what we can to make it work. She now has to truly eat those words. She has to truly take part in those words and what those mean. And I think that people don't understand. I was talking to a couple today on the phone. It was their 57th wedding anniversary today. You don't get to 57 years without something happening. But you make those choices, right? What you want to go through and what you want to stay through, of course. But with that being said, you don't not go through things.
Yep.
So I think Issa's processing. She has every right to decide whether she wants to stay or she wants to go. And something I did hear Issa Rae say, talking about the character, which I didn't think of until she said it. She was like, think about it. The last time you saw Issa and Lawrence together when they were saying goodbye was that season 3, I believe, or season 2. You saw her have that fantasy of them staying together, getting married, having a baby. This was her mindset for Lawrence. I'm getting a second chance at this fantasy, and I also heard from you that you bought me a ring at one point. So you were thinking the same thing. Now, man,
you know
it's
what?
a lot.
I gotta say, we've said it many times on this show that there must be some cameras in here watching my life as they're writing out. Because I actually
baby in your life, yo.
It's just too many things that are like, why are you getting paid to just write up my life and have a show about it?
There is someone following you around. Just the next time you're on your bike, sis, just look around.
Close. They're taking so many things and they're only going like 1/2 degree away from what actually So I've been in that situation. I've been in that situation where I was dating somebody, and while it was casual, they got somebody pregnant. And by the time they found out, things were less casual. And it was like, what? But it's like, are you what ends up, as you said, Britt, what ends up getting shattered in your mind is the vision of what the way you thought things might progress. It doesn't mean that there are no happy possibilities.
Right.
It just means that things have changed.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where it's like, it's like everything else. It's like, can you accept the terms,
Yeah.
And anyway, I just couldn't help but just say, once again, whoever's listening in on my life, stop doing that. Or give me some money. Either one's fine.
Hello. Hello.
But I'll just say, sis, in my personal experience with that, there was less at stake because I was, 4 or 5 months into knowing that person. Issa is in a situation where this is years. And this is work having been done to earn forgiveness for a huge mistake that she made. And I struggle to call infidelity a mistake because you did it.
Right.
But she has earned forgiveness for her behaviors. And, and so she has a lot more at stake. I frankly feel like it would be hard for her to walk away from Lawrence at this point. And I also just want to say, if you really, really, if you squint your right eye, you tilt your head to the side, you can see a future where Issa and Lawrence are together and they get along with Condola as the baby mama just fine.
Absolutely, because this happened.
Because it happens all the time, but also
all the time.
You know that Issa and Condola had a friendship.
Yep.
And if they are willing to put the work in, they could get back there. So I mean, in my mind, I was like, there are crappier people that Lawrence could have gotten pregnant. She's at least someone that
very true
that Issa and Lawrence have chemistry with. So, Well, you know what? On the topic of friendships, that's actually a great segue just to the last little bit of the storyline, which is just Issa. Where does she end up at the end of the episode? She ends up at dinner with Molly, right? Molly calls her and invites her to go to their Ethiopian place. And we see the two of them sitting down to eat. And the only part of the exchange we get to hear is Molly thanking Issa for coming and Issa thanking Molly for calling. And as far as we know, Molly and Andrew have very likely broken up. We also know that they are still together processing what is going on with Tiffany. And we know that Issa has just been given quite a blow. So they definitely have some dinner chit chat, and then another cliffhanger, sis. Did Molly have the wake up call that you want her to have? You want her to figure out, I have control issues. Maybe Andrew breaking up with her was her chance to kind of see, if I can't make it with him, I got to do something. We don't know what they talked about. What do you think they talked about, sis?
I will say what I hope they talked about, and I hope that they started off with apologies. I hope that they started off with apologies and reasons, right? Because I think they can't go anywhere past that. I could dive in and tell you all about my life, what's going on, Condola's pregnant, girl. I can get into all the drama, but that's not what we need to discuss first. What we need to discuss first is us. And my hope is that's where they start. And that Molly will be vulnerable and say, I fucked up. And I apologize. And how I felt, I should have expressed it differently and at a different time. I still was upset at you saying what I felt like going behind my back, but what you said was true, that if this relationship gets messed up, it's not anything you did, it's something I did. And in fact, I did do that. I did mess my relationship up. And so my hope is that is where they would start. And then just go from there, and then just be there for a long night, which is so cool to see them at this restaurant, because I feel like that was the first restaurant they were in the very first.
Definitely been an ongoing part of the story of the story of their relationship.
Yeah.
So it was a poetic ending. Poetic ending. Do you have any predictions or things you want to say about season 5?
No. Let me tell you something. I'm not gonna let them take me through no emotional turmoil for a whole year for whatever's gonna happen. But I will tell you this: the Insecure writers, I think that they edited in at the last moment a aerial, a pan view of course, Nipsey Hussle, which he has been lost a long time ago, at some time now, but Kobe Bryant and Gianna's picture, their mural. So I appreciate them taking us in to 2020 in the show. So they're at least in like February 2020 in the show, which I do want to see if they will bring the pandemic into the show. If they will find a way creatively, like they always do, to bring that into the show, which would be cool because they actually have started to bring more of the internet into the show already. More of Instagram, more of the video calls, more of that. So that it going to conference calls with some people wouldn't be anything different.
And one thing is for sure, it would solve the Lawrence leaving problem for a little while. So he would be able to start his new job right in Inglewood.
So let me tell y'all, I don't have any predictions. Insecure has messed me up with this Condola baby. I will tell you guys, I will be 100% honest with you. The reason why I had the most issue with the Condola baby was that I thought that it was unimaginative for Insecure writers because they are so creative. But as my sister and I spoke about before this episode, us talking, she was like, but that's real life, and that's what Insecure is all about, is real life. And so I had to go back and watch it again with those eyes. And I said, this is absolutely real life.
Yep, it is. And so not just any real life. It is specifically me being stalked by the writers of this show. So,
what about you, sis?
Yeah, I don't have any predictions.
Yeah.
I think that there are, and I think this is true of the characters in this show, but it is true for all of us all the time, that there are always many paths we can take. And I believe that every single one can lead to happiness and peace of mind. And I think the only way to get there is to make the best decision you can in the moment and have faith in yourself that future you is resilient and will make the best decision that they can. And that's all we can do. So Issa and Lawrence together could be very happy for both of them. Issa and Lawrence apart, it could be very happy. Same thing with Molly and Issa. Maybe they sat down to dinner and it went well. But maybe they sat down at dinner and Molly, instead of apologizing, said, well, we don't have to work through the Andrew issue anymore because he's gone, and still didn't own her part. And then Issa said, well,
let me tell you how I may throw my own television through a window if that happens.
It's possible.
Possible. And Issa will get up and leave about that Ethiopian restaurant and be like, will you be blessed?
Exactly. And I thought, I was already wondering if Yvonne Orji was going to come back for the next season because her comedy special had come out and everything. So but again, that would not be the end of the world for her.
The book coming out too.
And then Condola, listen, it's like you could be very happy with Lawrence and Issa as a married couple that has a relationship with your child. She could also be very happy with just co-parenting just with Lawrence. And it doesn't mean they get back together. So anyway, I guess all I'm saying is we choose happiness. We choose happiness. Issa said it a couple times in the later episodes. And I believe it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why she said it, because it's my belief. And again, these lines are just it's a little too close, but I really believe that. So, but I also, there's one prediction I do have, that whenever this show does end, could be season whatever, it's not going to end with things being perfect.
I could see that.
That's just not how it goes down.
And this show could literally go on forever.
It really could.
It really could, because things they've shown us episodes where they don't have to do much except follow one person.
Yep.
So honestly, this show could legitimately just continue.
It also could have ended just like this. I hate to say that, but this could have been a series finale, and I would have been fine with it.
I would not have been fine.
I would have been fine with it. I would have been like,
these emotional turmoil for at least 5 months. This show is not gonna pick me up and drop me like that. Oh no, it will not. It's gonna drop me off in a condola, baby. Oh no, you won't.
Oh my God.
Give me something else.
You know what? The challenge ahead of us now is to decide whether we're gonna recap another show. We gotta see, is there something out there that's worth our precious free time? So we'll see. If we do, we'll let y'all know. We'll let y'all know. We're always getting into something.
We're always getting into something. But the next something that we are currently in is The Right Perspective. That is our family podcast. Man, we're in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on what are the SoundClouds that we're on, Genia? Spotify.
We're on Apple Music, we're on Google Music. And you know what? You can actually just go to our website, which is actually rightperspectivepodcast.com. If you want to just get links to those.
WRIGHT, last name. Rightperspective.com. So you guys, as always,
podcast.com.
Yes, rightperspectivepodcast.com. So you guys, we love you. We appreciate
you for watching with us.
Yes.
It's been fun.
Season 5 coming back. You will be getting a season 4 refresher when we come back. So be ready for that. And we'll be ready episode by episode of season 5. And we're gonna be more sassy when we get there in these.
And I'm getting better and better with this video editing. Who knows? I'm gonna learn some new transitions. We're going to be real fancy season 5.
So, sis, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Only Genia Wright.
And you can find me, Be Right Breeze, on all social media platforms, including my website, BeRightBreeze.com. So, you guys, as always, we love you. Stay safe. Stay happy. And choose happy. Okay? What'd you say?
I said, and use a condom.
And use a condom.
Simple as that.
Done. Bye, you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.